Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my week number 13 defenses to stream for fantasy football in 2021. Inside today's video, I'm going to be going in depth into 5 different defenses that I believe you guys should be looking to pick up off the waiver wire right now based upon their matchups for week number 13. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask, if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure to hit that like button down below. It would help us out a ton. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. So without further ado, let's get into my week 13 defenses to stream. Of note, there are 4 teams on bye this week. We got the Carolina Panthers, the Cleveland Browns, the Green Bay Packers, as well as the Tennessee Titans. So we begin with the Miami Dolphins, my number 1 ranked defense to stream of the week, going up against the New York Football Giants at home in Miami. Last week, the Miami Dolphins went up against the Carolina Panthers in a game where they were the underdog, and the defense absolutely wiped the floor with Cam Newton in that game, having 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, as well as just 10 points allowed in that game. Things got so bad for Cam Newton that they ended up benching him and putting in PJ Walker, and then basically instantaneously, PJ Walker also threw an interception. That was a very bad game for the Carolina Panthers offense, but the Miami Dolphins defense has been on fire over the last couple of games, and I believe that that fire will be able to continue up against the Giants this week. The Giants struggled immensely offensively up against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. For some reason, the Giants don't just decide to establish the run with Saquon Barkley. They just fired Jason Garrett, so I figured that, hey, now maybe they'll actually use Saquon Barkley correctly, hand the man the ball off a million times a game, dump the ball off to him, because he's the best player on your team. He's the best playmaker on the team, so give him the ball. But that didn't end up happening last week up against the Eagles. I'm not too sure that the Giants are smart enough to figure that out this week up against the Dolphins. The Dolphins' pass defense has been amazing over this stretch of games, and I expect the Miami Dolphins to turn over Mr. Danny Fumbles, Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones multiple times in this game. So I love the Miami Dolphins defense up against the Giants this week. My number 2 defense to stream is the Minnesota Vikings, going up against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Now, when it comes to streaming defenses in fantasy football, a lot of the time, you don't even really care how good the defense is, because you are looking at the matchup. The Detroit Lions offense is complete and utter dog shit. They are not very good at all. They are likely to be without DeAndre Swift, probably the best player offensively. I believe that the Minnesota Vikings defense, while they didn't look amazing up against the 49ers last week, will be able to easily get it done in terms of fantasy football up against the Lions. Last week, facing the 49ers in San Francisco, the Vikings defense had 2 sacks, 1 INT, and 34 points allowed. While the 34 points allowed is obviously not good, the defense did still have at least 8 or 9 points, depending on what your league scoring settings is in terms of defense, so they weren't all that bad up against a tough offense in the 49ers, so they're definitely going to look very good up against the Lions this week. When looking back at last week for the team that played up against the Lions, we see the Chicago Bears go up against the Detroit Lions in Detroit on Thanksgiving. Now, this Chicago Bears defense is not the defense of the last couple of years. They have definitely came closer back down to earth. Now, are they a putrid defense? Of course not, but they are not one of the top defenses in the NFL anymore. Even so, they had 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery, and 14 points allowed up against the Lions. This Lions offense is just so bad that the Vikings are a must pick up on the week as my number 2 waiver wire defense to be picking up. Next defense to discuss is the Philadelphia Eagles, going up against the New York Jets in MetLife in this game. If you guys have noticed, a common theme in a lot of these videos is I'm streaming the defense up against the Giants, and I'm streaming the defense up against the Jets. Now, the Jets won last week up against the Houston Texans. Round of applause for them, right? Congratulations. Congratulations, but they are going to fall right back down to earth up against the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Week number 12, the Eagles defense up against the Giants. They had 1 sack and 13 points allowed. Not a great game defensively from the Philadelphia Eagles, but that offense was also really bad in that game. The receivers were dropping passes left and right, and Jalen Hurts just really didn't get in much of a rhythm because of that. But the Eagles defense did still perform in terms of fantasy football because they allowed fewer than 14 points in that game up against the Giants. In week number 12, the Houston Texans went up against the Jets, and while they did end up losing to the Jets at the end of the game on the scoreboard, obviously, the Texans had 4 sacks, 1 INT, and 21 points allowed. Zach Wilson simply is not very good. Now, does that mean that this guy is going to be a disaster his whole career, and he was already a bust as the number 2 overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft? Of course not. But it is quite telling for the remainder of the season that Zach Wilson probably isn't going to look all that good, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles defense plays great up against the Jets offense this week. But before we can move into the final 2 defenses to be streaming of the week, I would like to let you guys know that we are partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NFL season to bring you guys some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you guys 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link down below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we'll reach out to you via email with your coupon. If you need immediate access, that's okay as well. All you got to do is email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up immediately. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, which can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including Sunday's $1 million NFL Baller. Make sure you check out our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give you guys the best shot at winning big. Please make sure that you guys do check out Yahoo Fantasy, link down below in the description. My next defense to stream, the number 4 defense to stream on the week, is the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs were on bye in week number 12, so we got to go ahead and look back to week number 11 for their defensive stats. In that game in week number 11, the Chiefs went up against the Dallas Cowboys in a game that everyone perceived was going to be this ultra high scoring game, but it was exactly the fucking opposite of that. The Chiefs up against the Cowboys defensively, they had 5 sacks. They had not 1, but 2 interceptions in that game. They had 1 fumble recovery, and they had 9 points allowed. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is on a 6-game streak of getting an interception. Week 12, the Chargers went up against the Broncos in Denver. Didn't play all that well defensively. 1 sack, 1 INT, and 22 points allowed. But I think that with how on fire the Chiefs defense is, and with the fact that Teddy Bridgewater just hasn't looked all that good, I think that the Kansas City Chiefs defense is in a very solid spot to have a very solid performance this week up against the Broncos. And final defense to be streaming on the week, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. In week number 12, the Bengals defense up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had 3 sacks, 2 INTs, 1 fumble recovery, 1 touchdown, and 10 points allowed. Now, can you attribute a lot of that to Big Ben playing like absolute shit? Yes. But the Bengals defense was on his ass all game long with 3 sacks. They're pressuring him a bunch, and the Chargers offensive line hasn't looked amazing recently. The Chargers offense looked not so hot up against the Broncos last week. Again, the Broncos defense up against the Chargers, 3 sacks, 2 INTs, 1 touchdown, and 13 points allowed. So it is very probable, it is entirely plausible that the Cincinnati Bengals defense this week looks good yet again up against the LA Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to figure things out eventually, but right now, things haven't been looking the best. Now, I understand that they played very strongly up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in that primetime matchup 2 weeks ago, but they almost choked that game away. So the Cincinnati Bengals defense, I think, looks very strong up against the LA Chargers. I'm definitely very confident with the first 3 defenses, the Dolphins, the Vikings, and the Eagles. The Chiefs, I like. The Bengals are definitely dicey, but it is very hard week in and week out to find 5 defenses that I am ultra confident in, especially on a week where we have 4 teams on bye: the Panthers, the Browns, the Packers, as well as the Tennessee Titans. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If none of these defenses are available, or if you have other defenses that are available in your league because maybe you're in a smaller league, there might be more defenses available. So ask me down below in the comment section. I would love to discuss with you guys down there to go ahead and help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. I love you guys all so much. Please make sure that you do check out Yahoo Fantasy, link down below in the description, and follow me on Twitter @NotoriousFNTSY. I love you guys all so much. Hope you have a great rest of your guys' day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another great video. Love you guys. Goodbye.